Welcome, everyone. Today's session is about love math, and we are going to discuss some mathematical concepts which are not so mathematical. So, don't go by just normal maths, but this is relationship maths, and this is more about how relationships work. So, we are going to cover it into three different stages uh, of relationships. So, the first stage being unhealed or unhealthy relationships, the second one being healed or healthy relationships, and the third one is sacred love math equation. So, the first one is more generic in nature, which is the equations of healthy relationships. So these things that in the first stage that we are going to talk about are about any relationship that you encounter in your life. And all the people that you meet, not just somebody, if you're going to meet somebody or you have somebody in your life as your partner, it is applicable to them as well. If you're going to meet people you meet in regular life or you have in your life, this is applicable on them also, right? So, how do we identify, mathematically talking today, unhealthy or unhealed relationship patterns when we meet people and when we judge situations or when we try to understand that where is it going? Then we all use plus, minus, multiply, and division signs, right? So this can help you in understanding what decision or what choice do you need to make in that situation. So the first sign being negative sign. So negative and positive, we are going plus and minus, we are going to talk about in terms of energy. So all of us have, as human beings, if we connect to our body, if we connect to our energetic system, all of us are gifted with a little bit of understanding if we are feeling, if our energy is feeling drained or it's feeling escalated. All of us can feel that. There's no rocket science in that, right? So, minus, the first sign is minus sign. When we meet people in our life, right? So, people who with whom we feel that, oh my God, I mean, I'm not really feeling good about meeting this person, or my energy feels really drained, or I don't understand, I feel confused, I feel that not so good emotions in me, or any kind of negative blocks come up. And sometimes all of us feel sad, and we all of us feel angry. It is one of those instances, then it's a different story. But if you encounter people in your life with whom you constantly feel drained, and it's not about labeling people as if they are bad or something, it's just the equation is not matching, right? Then that is a point where you need to understand that maybe this is a no. So you have to start trusting your energetic system on this. And if you feel that this is not working out, then maybe you can take out some time and see why you are in this place and why would you still want to go forward if constantly you are feeling the same with that person. So the minus sign is a sign for you to remember when you meet such people. So they are not, people who are taking you towards a healthy side of relationships. And if you can get out of it, if you can get out of those relationships, you can always choose to, you know, go out of it, right? Then the second sign that comes is the positive sign. So people whom just you meet and encounter in your lives, the second category of people, they enhance your energy. They make you feel more energetic in nature. And if that is a constant energy phase that goes on, then there's a chance, not there's a chance, but there's a synchronicity, a kind of synergy between two people, between those relationships, where it is elevating the energy, right? So you feel more energized, you feel more push towards doing things in your life. You feel more grounded, you feel more calm, you feel more um, surrounded by uh, good things or good thoughts. Then those are people who add on to your life. So the negative people take away your energy, while the positive, the plus sign people add to your energy. So these first are the two basic signs which you can use energetically to understand what is happening in relationships with people when you meet them. So to continue or not to continue is this can be a really good starting point. Now the third part is multiply sign, right? So the third category of people, they multiply things in your life. So you need to ask yourself, the person who's coming in my life or who's there in my life, what is it that that person is multiplying, right? So they could be multiplying all the things, like positive things that you have in your life, or all the negative things that you have in your life. So the multiplication sign is about the amplification, where the amplification is happening. And if that amplification is happening on the positives, then again, you can go forward. This is the second step, and you can go forward that, yes, I'm ready to see this kind of multiplication. But if the multiplication again is happening on more of the draining side, then it is again a point for you that every time this amplification happens, and I feel even more drained. The fourth sign, and the most important one out of all these, is the division sign, right? There are people who are going to make you fragmented, or who are going to make split you into parts, right? And this, why this is so important, because these kind of people who we actually encounter in unhealthy or toxic patterns or toxic relationships in our lives, because what do? They just fragment us. And how do they fragment us, right? So there's a part that we all are multidimensional beings, and we already have a lot of things. It's not like we all are like in this journey of life only good things happen to us. Yes, different kind of things happen to us, and we all are fragmented within our own selves. But in these kind of relationships, whenever a situation arises, right? So the person makes you question your reality, or the person even confuses you more. So there was one part of you, and you were confused about something, and then they divided you into even different parts, and they fragmented and created splits within you even more, that you are now even more confused to understand anything, right? So the when it comes to this sign, it's the red flag of the relationship, that are you becoming fragmented in a relationship, right? So this is where we need to, really analyze the relationship, because when it comes to the negative, positive, and multiplication parts, so there can be two categories in our lives: people whom we can leave and move on from, people whom we cannot leave and move on from, right? So we can somehow, we all do learn to manage these relationships and work on these relationships. If you want to know how to, deal with toxic people who are all the time there in your environment, they could be your parents or spouses or siblings or co-workers, then we have a YouTube video already on this session, which we did last week and two times before also. You can go watch that. Still, there hasn't come a point where you are being split. So there's a possibility that all these toxic people in your life are making you come up with, feelings and fears and everything that have been hidden from the past. There's a chance. And maybe they are negative energy draining, and they are people who are actually multiplying or amplifying the negative aspects or the fears of you. But there's a way to work through that situation if you cannot come out of it. But when it comes to the division sign, then you really need to become very aware that, is this person making me more fragmented, more questionable about my reality, more indecisive? Is he or she adding to more confusion? Is he or she adding to more and more splits in me, rather than actually helping me integrate myself? Right. So this is the space where, all the major red flags come, right? So this is how you this is the first stage of, today's session. in which we can understand the people we meet. So this formula we can use with people we meet, generally we meet in our lives. We can also use this to bring more awareness to the people who are already there in our lives. So this is the first stage. Before we move forward, any of you have any questions? Akarma, anything you would like to add to this point?
No, I think you've covered it quite well. Nothing that comes to my mind. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Looks like we should keep going.
Great, great. Now, the first equation, the equation of love that floats around across the globe and shown in movies and love stories and everything. So, so we keep hearing the term, my other half or my better half and all these things. These kind of words imply that I'm half, the other person is also half, and we come together and we make one out of it, right? But these kind of relationships, half plus half equals to one equation, is actually not true when it comes to relationship, because two half people cannot make one. They are half, and they are only going to. Yes, Kumar. So it's like saying that you complete me. And a lot of people use this sentence so often. And it's not even their fault, because kind of they doing it so unconsciously, and that is the same thing which they're seeing around. But if we bring conscious awareness to this point, two half people actually cannot create anything full, because they only have the capacity to bring the emptiness in each other, right? So uh, like for an example, I am going to, let's suppose I feel something, I feel hurt, and now I have a partner. How am I going to make him feel? I'm going to make him feel hurt only, because that is the only way for me to make him to make myself feel that he understands me. So for me to understand that what if other person understands me or not, the only way left is to make him or her feel what I feel. So if I feel hurt, the only way I'm left with is to make the other person also feel hurt. And that is why when we are in such a bad, sad mood, thoughts like these come up, that ये इसने मुझे ऐसे बोला ना, अभी मैं इसको ऐसी चीजें बोलूंगी, I will say such mean words to them that they get to know what I feel, right? They get to know it, they get to feel it, right? So that's how these codependent relationships work. So two half people actually do not bring anything out of each other. They're just like those energy draining people, that they are just pouring, like their half glass of milk, and two half glasses of milk, then half glass goes into the another, and that becomes empty, right? And that then one person starts becoming and feeling so empty, and then it starts asking that fill me, fill me, fill me. And the other person now then pours the his or her glass of water into his or the other person's glass of water, that becomes full, and the other one starts shouting, I am empty, I am empty, fill me, fill me, fill me. Two half glasses, right? What do they have? They have something to give to each other, right? But the moment they give something to each other, they start feeling empty, and then they are so ready to receive, like, give it back to me, give it back to me. I do not have so much to give. So there is no healthy giving in these relationships, and there is no healthy receiving in these relationships. So all these kind of things, be it being submissive, be it people who are people pleasers or compromisers, or people who are very very dull in the relationship, who would just be like those people who would just walk around on the footprints of other people, and the other person who is dominating or who is always taking everything, you know, making everything move according to themselves. Both are half, and that is why for them to meet their needs and for them to feel full, they have to find they have to find the other piece of the puzzle to fill themselves and to keep repeating the same pattern. And how that's how in the society the relationships that we see as love, actually if we see inside, are actually codependent, trauma, formed out of trauma bonds, and formed out of a lot of toxicity. Because and they kind of look actually perfect because they fix each other, they fix the puzzle pieces into each other, and this play keeps going on. And because this is now so ingrained in us that we start thinking of, love and relationships as codependency or trauma bonds, right? So half plus half is not equals to one, it's actually half only. So two incomplete people. Yes, please, Akarma.
Um, yeah. So one more example I want to add to this is how sometimes people feel that, let's say there's a couple and one person is very short tempered and the other person is very calm, and they feel that they kind of complete each other, complement each other. That one is hot headed and one is very calm. So when the hot headed person is angry, the other person can soothe them and can manage them, right? Many a times in movies also we see this thing that uh, the parents are looking for a girl, or they're looking for a boy, that the girl is like this, and if the boy is the opposite, then we'll be able to manage this. Or if the girl is like this, like that way. So they manage each other well that way. And this is exactly what codependency means, that people are not learning themselves how to manage their own situation, manage their own emotions. They are depending on the other person to manage it for them. And this is a celebrated concept. This is not, the parents are not teaching their own kids that how they should uh, manage this themselves, how they should learn to manage it themselves. But they are teaching their kids that you don't have to do anything. We'll just outsource this problem to somebody else. We'll just find you a husband or a wife and we'll outsource this problem to them. So this is a celebrated concept in another way. This is a classic codependency, that one person is not able to fix the problems in their own life and need the other person constantly there to fix their problems for them. So that is why we say half plus half is half here, because they are not fixing anything for themselves. They're not learning anything. In fact, if anything, they are now becoming more dependent on the other person to fix it for them. That's as much. Any comment from anyone? Anything anyone wants to say on this so far?
Yeah, I think these are some great insights, Anamika and Akarma, as to what people think about relationships. Because I think, I personally believe or think that whatever challenges or life problems arise, the most percentage goes to this relationships. And it is so important to really understand our own selves and others to really have a healthy relationship. So thanks for sharing. That's what I want to share.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yes,
Kumar.
definitely. Most life problems arise from relationships. That's true. And again, when we are saying this, we are not saying that we shouldn't take help from other people and all that. That's not the intention of saying this. Obviously, we all don't know everything to fix. Taking help is fine, because when I'm taking help, I'm aware that I don't know how to do this yet, but I am ready to learn. I'm talking about those situations where we don't even want to learn. We just find a partner who will just fix this gap in me. So that's not help. That's not support. That's just saying that I'm not good at this, so I'm just going to find another person. One person is blind, the other person is lame, and both become partners. That the blind can walk but can't see. The lame can't walk but can see or can't see. So it's like that. So it's just that combination where one needs the other all the time. They just not complete without the other person. So this is not help. So don't misinterpret what we are saying, that we are saying that don't take any help from anyone. You have to do everything yourself. No, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that we should be capable of doing things ourselves, and then when our partner does it for us, it feels good. It's not out of any need. So when the other person has to look after you, take care of you, so many times I know I've talked to some of my friends, and they very proudly say that, I don't even know how to boil eggs. I don't even know how to boil milk. And they so proudly say this. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it. That what is so proud about this? That if given the situation, okay, fine, you can go and buy food from outside. But COVID has shown us that times can come when you can't even buy food from outside also. So what is this proud feeling that I can't even make a cup of tea, I can't even boil eggs for myself, and I need someone to do this for me. This is dependency, because you can let's say you don't know how to do this, but you are aware that you don't know how to do this. You can still learn, but the person is choosing not to even learn, not to even try this. They would rather find he would rather find a wife who will do it for him. So that is codependency. That is that is not healthy. That is not healthy.
Yeah, yeah. And as we are talking about this, I guess we need to also cover, needs of anybody. So we all, as humans, have needs, right? We have different kinds of needs. We have physical needs, sexual needs, spiritual needs, emotional needs, intellectual needs, all kinds of needs we have, right? And there's nothing wrong with fulfilling our needs. Obviously, if we are living here, then why not meet our needs? But meeting our needs is not equals to, so another mathematical thing I'm bringing here, it's is not equals to, in big, as a big sign, meeting your needs is not equals to neediness, right? So this is something which people, need to understand, that being needy in a relationship is very different from meeting your needs. So we are in, there can be two categories of people. So both of them meet their needs, right? But one person is meeting their needs in healthy ways. They're just in a healthier state of mind. So whatever people they have in their life, if they have a need, they can just go and ask them, see, I have this need, and can you just help me do this? Can you just help me fulfill my need? Can I talk to you emotionally? Can I be vulnerable with you? I'll just be vulnerable with my friends, right? So all these things are healthy forms of meeting your needs, and you can always meet your needs and learn to meet your needs on your own. And there would be times in life when you cannot do anything about it, right? And in the healthier state of mind, you can see what to do with your needs, and what alternative you choose, what you do. There's no such thing happening as, you know see, I need to meet my needs, so I'll just go manipulate somebody else, that, so that I can meet my need. Unfortunately, the second category of people is like, they will not say that they have needs, but they will meet their needs through manipulation, through passive aggression, through doing all kinds of indirect things with other people, and then they would meet their needs, right? So there's a lot of difference between meeting our needs in both of these situations, because one person is doing it very consciously, he or she is aware of their needs and how they are meeting it, but the other person is totally unconscious and unaware of their needs, and the only way they have learned is through manipulate to meet their needs is through manipulation, or through all the indirect ways of getting things done. That is why uh, manipulation happens in relationships, right? Now, why neediness is not the same as meeting your needs is because when you are needy, when you have not learned how to meet your needs, you will attract and you would want people in your lives who you would say that you love them, but you actually do not love them. You only need them. So, needing someone because you love them is very different from loving someone because you need them. So, all these kind of people, need is primary, love is secondary. What they feel is secondary. So, they feel love for people who meet their needs. But imagine the day that person stops fulfilling their needs, all their love is gone. And where did it go? It was not there in the first place. How would it be there? All that was there was a need. And that is what a needy relationship is. That is what a codependent relationship is, a trauma bond relationship is. But when people heal themselves and when they come in a very healthy state, a very aware state, conscious state, then love precedes needs. So they are still going to need things from people they love, right? But then that need is not preceding that love. It's not like if that person does not fulfill their needs sometime, then they are going to banish them and they're not going to talk to them, and the relationship is over, and there's going to be chaos and everything. They love is primary. Love became primary. All the other things became primary, and in that relationship, when two people come together, they become very free, that yes, and I need this, can you give this to me? Most of the times it's so easy. We humans, we think it's complicated, but it's so easy that, let's suppose all the people who are here and I need help from you, if I just directly come and ask you that, can you just help me, you will help me. Most people would, right? So it's not that complicated. And even if somebody doesn't help me, then it is pretty understandable, right? That they might have their own situations. If not from them, I'm flexible enough to ask somebody else. Like, why just them? I can, in this point of time, ask somebody else that, can you do that? So there's no such thing holding me back and spoiling my relation. Let's suppose I go to Kumar for help. Kumar, please, will you help me? And okay, Kumar left the meeting. So, and I ask him for help, that will you please help me? And in case he is not able to help me or meet my need, I'll go ask somebody else. But that does not spoil my relationship with Kumar. It's because love preceded need in the relationship, right? So that's the difference between meeting your needs and being needy. What precedes what is something we need to see. So, and this is also the basic distinction between unhealthy, unhealed relationships and healthy, healed relationships. In both relationships, we meet our needs, but one is conscious and another is in unawareness or unconsciously done. Now, the equation of a healthy or healed relationship is 1 plus 1 equals to 1, right? So, two glasses full of milk, full of water come together, right? So they both have enough to be together, right? So they have so much that if they pour onto each other, they start flowing out, right? Because one is a thing. They are so full that they're always in the flow of giving and receiving. So there, the milk in the glass is already overflowing in both the people. So no matter how much they give or receive from each other, it's always overflowing. So two complete people, when they come together, because they are so complete in themselves, already fulfilled, already whole in themselves, they come together, and then they create a relationship which is also whole in nature. Now, it's not like we can label people as this is an unhealthy relationship, and this is a healthy relationship, and this is a half glass of milk, and this is a full glass of milk. There's a journey to go from being unhealed to healed. There's a journey to go from half a glass of milk to full of the glass of milk, right? So it's not like that we in one day, in one flick of a second, we become from unhealed to we go from unhealed to healed completely. It's a journey. We go through a lot of stages, but this whole thing is being brought forward to you so that you can see through it, that you can see through what it looks like, right? What it would look like when you are in one type of relationships, and what would it would look like when you enter into another one, right? And that is the whole journey. And these two people, it's not like they have reached the utmost amount of healing or anything, but at least they come together with an intention to give to each other, to receive from each other, to fill each other, to evolve with each other, right? So there's a constant, it's the growth which is the focus, and it's the growth of ourselves as well as another. If we are ourselves so empty from inside, so broken from inside, we wouldn't have the energy to even think about, of the evolution of our partner. But the in relationships, the most evolution happens, and especially in relationships with people who we are married to or who we live with. They are very important because we spend a lot of time, a lot of our lives with them. So they help us heal a lot. And that if two such people come together in a healthy relationship, so their idea of the relationship is the growth of me and the growth of him or her, and whatever we bring together and create out of this. So the focus changes. In the first instance, we are stuck in those fears and needs and all and everything. We are so dense that we cannot even see anything beyond it. But slowly, as we start working on ourselves, and we start, either in the same relationship, we make it healthy, or if we get out of it, get into another one, we can get into healthier relationships. So whatever happens in our lives, in there can be millions of permutations, combinations, but the thing is that we expand, and our focus is also that, we create a nurturing environment so that the person who we are with also expands. And the beauty of this is that if we have reached that stage, and the kind of people we be with, they also are coming from the same space, because a half person can only attract a half person, because they are attracted to drama, they are attracted to chaos. But a full person who is closer to becoming one, will not attract a half person. It's not that they wouldn't have compassion for them or anything like that, but they also do not think that it is my responsibility to fix other people, because that is also the ego's way of, becoming a rescuer. A person who is becoming whole is not a saver, not a person who is being saved or is a saver, but a person who is evolving. And this concept is not saving or being saved, but this is beyond, this is a level forward than being saved and saving somebody, because that is the ego at play, that, I am so big that I can save somebody, right? I am going to become the rescuer. That those all those feelings actually dissolve in ourselves, right? So we attract people who are also in that space. So that's how it works vibrationally, right? So that is the equation of 1 + 1 = 1. and a equation of a healthy relationship. Anything to add from your side, Akarma? Anybody wants to say anything? Any question?
Um, yeah, so I just wanted to explain this in a different way in case some people may have connected with the glass of milk example and some people may not have. So um, don't look at it from a mathematical point of view because there 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So if we visualize glass of milk, then there could be a confusion for some people. Some people may have got the clarity from this. And for those who had some confusion, this 1 that we are talking about, 1 plus 1 equal to 1, what is this 1? This 1 is the the relationship, the entity that comes out, which is the merging of the two people. The merging of the two people can only happen when both of them have dropped their egos, when they have worked on themselves, and to some level, the egos have dropped, and those two are ready to merge with each other. Then they become one. But if they still have not dropped their egos and still want to be uh, you know stand out in that relationship, then they will never merge. They will be just a team of two people basically. Uh, it will not be a union. So this one is a representation of that union, and and it's not a mathematical form that 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, because when that is the case, that it's just a team of two people. It's still not a union. So here we are talking about the union that can only happen when those two have independently worked on themselves and healed themselves to some extent, where they're ready to drop their egos with each other and merge with each other. That's all I wanted to say. Any comments from anyone? Everyone is very quiet. Kavita, CP, Prabhu, and
Yeah,
you.
I think whatever you shared, Anamika and Akarma, it's amazing, and I have been listening to the your audios as well. Where, and especially Anamika, I really liked when you mentioned that when the need is gone, where is the love? It is so powerful as to thinking that and the examples that Akarma has mentioned, that I can't do this. I mean, they say it so proudly that I can't even boil eggs. I can't make tea. So it is so important to understand these things, that only half attracts half. So thanks for sharing this amazing thing. And yeah, and Akarman knows about me because we had a long, deep 3 hours call. And there's this lady who comes into my life and says that, Kumar, you need healing, and I'm your rescuer. And now I understood that she also needs healing, because she says that I always pray God to get unhealed into my life, so that through me they can be healed, is what she says. And after listening to your conversations and going through whatever you guys have shared, whether through the Sunday calls or the e-journeys which I'm going through, now I understood that she in fact also needs healing as much as I do. So, because and Anamika, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not just talking about the relationship of what do you call it? Could not just lovers or anybody, but it could be anybody, right? I mean, anybody getting into our lives that we attract. Am I right, Anamika?
Right, right. But there's a different quirk when it comes to other relationships and uh, uh, a relationship with your romantic partner or anything. So all of these things are important and everything, but there are things which you do with your partner, and that is staying in the same house, and you share everything, right? And you create a family, and then or maybe you, even if you don't, then there are a lot of things that you share, right? And there
Yeah.
could be people in our lives who are as important, but then that is a different thing. So there are similarities, like there are going to be similarities in things and all the relationships, but all of these are little bit different in their quirks, right? So that is where there are a lot of pointers that are applicable to all the relationships.
Right.
But when it comes to, merging or union, or experiencing the union, then in that case, we are talking about, lovers or romantic partners or
Right.
people we are in a relationship with.
Yeah, yeah. In my case, Anamika, I mean, I am single and I am not into any romantic relationship, or I'm not married. I don't have a spouse. So will that journey which I'm taking, I mean, it is actually making sense, even though I'm not in a romantic relationship or I don't have a spouse. There's quite a few things which are making sense, and of course there are some other things which are not. So I think, is that okay to continue the journey of healing those romantic relations, whatever the journey name is? Is that okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is actually, we are making it for, people who are in relationships, but all of us are going to be in relationships, right? And even if we, let's suppose, one out of 1,000 people who join, they decide, they're going to be celibate and they're going to be a monk or a nun, anything, right? So a rare case like that also happened. But the thing is that everything is relationships, right?
True,
You
true.
cannot eliminate relationships because everything is relationship, right?
Mm,
I
mm.
mean, I mean the air that I breathe, I'm breathing is in this room, maybe has traveled from your city to my room, right? And then the food which we eat and the people which we meet, and so it's all relative, and it's all related, interlinked to each other. And no matter how much you try to eliminate relationships, but you cannot eliminate relationship with anything. And even if we keep, these esoteric concepts aside, then no matter what you do, you are going to talk to people, right? And people are going to be there. So that's why this, yes, we are creating it for relationships, but in future, as we feel that you may get into one relationship too, so it's good. It's like you're working for it right now, right? And they're more like healing journeys. They're more about personal work, because personal work only is what, creates evolution in relationships, right? So that's more about personal growth only. So it's going to be helpful, and in fact, it's going to be helpful for everybody. You're there, Kumar? I don't know, in case we
Yes, yes,
lost him.
I'm
Yeah,
there. I'm there.
okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I got to leave. Thank you so much for the call. I'm just attending something else out here. Bye.
No
Bye, Anamika.
problem.
Thank you so much for these calls.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you, Kumar. Yes. Now we'll just quickly cover the last stage of these equations. So the last and third stage, which is the sacred love math equation, is the equation of a sacred partnership, a sacred union relationship. And that is 1 plus 1 equals to 3. So these kind of relationships, why 1 plus 1 equals to 3, is because there is one individual who is complete on him or herself, and there's another one. But there's something, the third entity, which comes out of them where they have united, and there's a third energy which is born out of it. For I'll give you an example, because Akarma does numerology. So we were just discussing a few days back, and he was just telling me that if there are two people who have missing numbers on their charts, then when they come together and if they are ready to surrender, and if they surrender to each other and they unite and they join back forces, right? And we also discussed that it usually does not happen, and that is why, even numerologists across the globe do not recommend this. But if that happens and that kind of a surrender and union happen between two people, then the third entity is born where everything merges. And their purpose merges, the way of living merges, everything becomes fluid and it becomes melted into each other, right? So the distinction which people have, this is more of concept which is very not very much talked of. So um, these two people, they become so fluid that the distinction of me and him or me or her, that is clear, as well as it's all mixed up, it's all merged into one another. So it creates the third entity. And in that energy system, in case we take numerology's example, these two people can also use the other person's numbers. Let's suppose I don't have a certain number on my chart and my partner has it. Then if I unite with my partner and we create a sacred entity, then there's such a merging that happens that I will be able to even surrender and use the wisdom of the number which he has, or vice versa, in all the cases. So that kind of a merging that happens, and the third entity is born, and two people, they are able to very fluidly and very very magically move forward in their life. So they are whole in themselves, and there's a third thing which is born out of them. So it's like giving birth to a new entity, right? A new energy which was not there. The union has happened in such a way that the energy has now entangled in such a way that it represents itself in the world as a third entity, right? So this concept really has to be understood from a more energetic point of view when it comes to a sacred partnership, and it amplifies now that energy which they have created. So all the lives that they touch and all the lives wherever they move forward, so they have their own energies, but they also have the third energy which is there with them, which is the sacred energy which they carry together. So that is just the gist of how sacred partnerships work. And in this, the equation is 1 + 1 = 3. So anybody has any comment, any question? Akarma, please, anything to add from your side?
Uh, no, I think that you have explained well. Maybe one last point I would add to this is, uh, so as much as we are talking about a merged entity, this kind of couple also acknowledge that, uh, although there is a merged entity, but they also have freedom as well. So they do acknowledge each other's freedom at the same time as well. So it's not that now the other person doesn't even matter, they don't even exist. So at a we're talking this merging at an energetic level, but on a physical level, they're still two people. They physically haven't merged. Physically, they are still two people, and one person would have some preferences different from the other. So maybe in terms of, uh, one person likes this kind of food, the other person likes that kind of food. One person likes this color, the other person likes that color, or whatever the case is. So there will still be some differences that are there. So this couple will also acknowledge those differences, and give freedom to each other to have that, not like that, you can't like this anymore, you can't do this anymore, and imposing each other's choices and imposing each other's preferences on each other. No, they will be mindful that, although energetically we have merged, but at the same time, we are also two different people, and that is also important to give that freedom to each other. Yeah. Anyone has anything to say? Nilu, CP? Kavita, is this person PC? Who are you? Your name is not obvious, so can you please tell us your name? You have to unmute yourself to talk. Okay. Anyway, um, anyone has anything to say, or should we wrap up the call? Yes, CP, go ahead.
Here, Sachin, when we were talking about the thing about neediness, like when we are actually whole, we don't, there's no need to need a person. But how is that different from someone uh, who says, who is like overconfident in himself or herself and says that oh, I'm this self-sustainable entity and I don't need anyone in my life? Isn't that person coming from a place of avoiding others so that he or she doesn't become attached or dependent upon the other person? So how do we
Yeah.
differentiate these two things?
The difference will be very, very obvious in the way these two people behave. So, as you mentioned, this person who is coming from that overconfidence or that arrogance that I don't need anybody, they will be outright rejecting any help, any assistance from anyone. But when we say you don't need anybody, that doesn't mean that you don't allow anyone to help you. What we are saying is that even if there is nobody to help you in doing something, you will still be able to do it yourself. That doesn't mean if there is someone, you will not be happy to take help. So you'll be very much happy to take help, and it's the difference is that you are happy enjoying your life. You're happy living. You're living your life very happily, but at the same time, if you have a partner, you will be more happy to share your life with another person. So it will give you even more joy if you have another person. But if you don't have it, that doesn't make you miserable. That's the difference. You will still have a very good life and everything. Just that another person, it will just make it even more better. You enjoy. Let's say, for example, you like watching movie, go to a theater. So you go and watch a movie in a theater. You still enjoy it, but if you go with a friend or with someone, you enjoy it even more. But if you don't have a friend and now you want to go, but you're not going and you are sitting at home and venting and complaining and fussing about it that, oh, I don't have any friend, I can't even go to the movies and all that, and you are feeling sad and frustrated, that's the problem.
Okay, got
And
it.
on the
I Yeah, please, Rama,
yes.
continue.
And on the other hand, if there is a person who is just saying, no, no, I don't need anybody. Even if you are a friend and you say that I'll come with you to watch a movie, then no, no, I don't need anybody. I'll go alone and I'll watch. I don't need it. That's different. That's arrogance. That's just different. That's also coming from a fear or avoidance. So, person who is full will not avoid anything. They will be full and they will be fully participating and letting everybody else to participate with them as well. Yes, Sonali,
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to this point both the categories of people who are dependent and independent. So as I said in the beginning that we all have needs. Each one person on this earth has needs. It's not possible that there's anybody who has no needs. So be it a person who is extremely dependent or be it a person who is extremely independent, both of them have needs, right? There are the two categories of people I talked about was people who are conscious of their needs and people who are unconscious of their needs or are rejecting their needs or are overly dependent on their needs. So मीट नीड्स तो सभी मीट करेंगे सबको मीट करना ही पड़ता है because there's no other way out. You are here and you are here living, you cannot not meet your needs. And even if, let's suppose, there's an independent person who says that I have no need and I have no need of any person, that person is just going to be as resentful as he or she can be. So if you find people who are extremely independent, if you go to the core of them, they're very resentful, and because they are not even meeting their needs. So that is also not a healthy state. So the healthy state is to meet your needs, and to meet your needs consciously, right? That is the thing, because you cannot not have needs. Needs are always going to be there, but there are two ways of dealing with the needs. One is a conscious way of dealing with your needs, meeting your needs, asking people, if you can meet this need for me, finding out ways how I can meet my needs. The other category of people who are extremely dependent or extremely independent, they are not in this balanced state. They are unaware. And that is why the only way for them to meet their needs is through indirect ways, through manipulation, through all kinds of indirect things that they can do in relationships. So needs तो सभी meet करेंगे, right? तो जो लोग ये भी बोल रहे हैं ना कि we are totally independent, that's no. Go to the core of them, you'll see they have needs and they're fulfilling their needs, right? जो भी उनकी need है, they are meeting all their needs, just that कि वो सारे लोग बहुत ही इनडायरेक्ट वेज में अपनी नीड्स को मीट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, कि जैसे भी मीट कर रहे हो जिस भी तरीके से. So that is the major distinction to make people who are more healed, or who are on a journey to healing, or who are in a comparatively healthier state. They meet their needs in healthy ways, and people who are in unhealthier states, they meet their needs in unhealthy ways, right? तो ये तो पॉइंट ऑफ मतलब कोई डिस्कशन ही नहीं है कि नीड्स ही नहीं है किसी की. इम्पॉसिबल, राइट? आई मीन इफ यू आर हियर, राइट हियर, नीड्स तो सबकी हैं.
Yes, right, Anamika. I've experienced this with someone. So whatever points you and Sachin put, it was exactly like this. I mean, the person was totally ignorant of his needs, and all he was doing was manipulating people around, and he was extremely resentful. So yeah, it makes sense what you have told just now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Neelu, Kavita, 𝗕ṛ chị? Should we wrap up, Anamika?
Yeah, yes. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining.
Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks guys. Okay.
Yeah, if you have anything to share, please share it in the group.
We can
Thank you.
continue the conversation there. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.